For the third year and counting, Richard Skipper has been celebrating the artists you love.
And what are some of the things that you really
run out of time, and we've got to talk about your latest. I want to go back a little bit, first of all, and celebrate a true legend.
Richard Skipper is all about celebrating life, art, and his guest body of work.
And did you pursue performing opportunities while you were in high school?
Please join us while he showcases these diverse and talented individuals. Here's Richard Skipper.
Let that go!
Let it go!
Sarah, how are you?
Hi, honey. I'm good. How are you? You look adorable.
Well, it's so good to see you again. I want to, first
you.
of all, what kind of a week have you had?
Oh, gosh. What kind of a week? Well, that's a loaded question. I've had a lot of people texting me and calling me about this show, and especially about the topic last week, which I'd like to clean up a little bit.
Well, we're gonna continue to talk about that. I want to let everyone know that we're gonna do a giveaway tonight. We're actually giving away a copy of Let That Go. We're gonna let it go out into the universe. So this is how all of you, no matter what platform you're watching this on tonight, you have a chance to win. And all you need to do is put in the hashtag Let That Go with whatever your comments, your questions, your suggestions are. Just post that in the comment section, hashtag Let That Go. It's not case sensitive. And towards the end of the show, we are going to do a giveaway. It's randomly done, so you need to put that in. So again, let that go. So as I did last week, someone gave me this incredible game for the holidays called Be Best. And I'm pulling a random question that I'm going to ask to start the week off this week. And the question is, what is something that you are certain that you will never experience and why?
I got to think about that one. Because I've experienced a heck of a lot. So,
yeah.
No, I'll have to think about that.
Well, there are so many things that we can all talk about, but you wanted to clean up, you said.
Oh, I can say I will probably never have human children.
But you have pets.
I have dogs. I have dogs, but I will definitely not have any human children.
Great. Well, let's.
Which is fine. Which was planned, actually.
It's very, very interesting because I see that Deborah Stone is watching us. Hello, Deborah. And Deborah is part of a book group that I lead on Monday mornings. And one of the books that we are doing right now is called "It's Never Too Late to Begin Again" by Julia Cameron, who was one of my, I'm not going to use the word guru. She's one of my goddesses.
Yes, thank you.
Kassira.
You listen. Yay!
She is one of my goddesses, and we meet every Monday morning virtually. And each week we are going through, we're moving chronologically through our lives. And right now, tomorrow, we're talking about our 40th year. For everybody in the group, what was going on in our 40th year. And for some of us in the group, and none of us in our group, believe it or not, have human children. And I think every single person in the group has the four-legged variety. But we talked about this last week, and the feelings of having children or wanting children. And then one person in the group said that her only regret with not having children is the fact that she will not have grandchildren as she gets older in life. And I wish, on one, and it's funny, my husband and I, we talked at one time about the possibility of adopting a child, but he always said, "You are a child, and you're enough child for me." So, Joanne Kemper, I want to remind you to put in the hashtag Let That Go, and let's pick up where we left off last week, Kassira.
Okay. One of my dearest longtime friends of 40 years, who Richard has met, who shall remain nameless, but he gave me permission to talk about this, and it's only going to be brief because I'd like to move on to start teaching our viewers about some basics of letting things go. He is what he refers to as a recovering alcoholic. In fact, the day after last week's show, he watched the show, and the day after, it was his 7th anniversary of sobriety. Really important. And he's been very candid with me about the whole journey and his experience. He said, I'd like to talk to you about a term he said, I want to tell you why I use the word recovered as a recovery as opposed to recovered. He said, in my brain, he said, everybody's sobriety experience is different. Everybody's addiction is different. Doesn't matter what you're addicted. Everything is individual and experiential to the individual. So he said, I have to continue using the word recovery because it's what keeps me from drinking alcohol. He said, if I say to myself that I'm recovered, my brain will say, oh, then it's okay to start drinking again because you don't have a problem anymore.
Wow.
And I heard him. I use a little bit different language as an ex-smoker, yet for alcohol, for him, he used to smoke as well. He used to smoke cigarettes as well. We used to smoke together when we were on the road. All of us smokers would have our own bus on the road, and the non-smokers would have their bus, smoking away. And truly, one thing that I'm learning about alcoholics in recovery and ex-cigarette smokers, or as you like to say, former cigarette smokers, is that former drinkers are tempted much more than us former smokers. Most of the former smokers I know don't crave cigarettes. In fact, they don't even like the smell anymore. I don't like the smell anymore. I can't even. It makes me sick to even smell it. Whereas my friends who have gone through AA and are still attending AA and doing the 12 steps are constantly tempted. So I wanted to clear that up. I wanted to clean that up out of respect for anybody out there that's in alcoholic recovery.
Well, it's very interesting because one of the things that you and I, in our many conversations we have throughout the week, which I love, is words and the words that we use.
Language.
Language. And you just mentioned, I don't like to use the word X.
Yeah.
Because for me, and I learned this from Michelle Lee, she said she never referred to her former husbands as exes.
I love her.
Because you can't X someone out of your life that has brought something to your life. And I agree with that, even though there are certain behaviors, certain things that we need to let go of in our lives. Those memories, those things that are help shape who we are. I don't think we should X them out. So get rid of the word. Another thing to let go of this year is the term X this, X that. Refer to them as a former. And
also, as you know, I don't like the word guru.
Yes, and they're gods and goddesses now.
Gods and goddesses, divas and divas. Yeah.
Yes. So gurus are out. We're getting rid of the word. Certain words. Take a notepad, everyone, and write these words down that we're going to eliminate from our vocabulary because words are powerful.
Well, now I want to make it clear. No one has to let go of these words. Nobody. You can do what you like. Yet, as you continue to speak in ways that may not be manifesting or co-creating what you desire and require, pay attention to your language. Try something new on. As you know, I do not like the word need. And it's a habit. The word need, everyone says need all the time. I prefer the term require. And I don't like the word want. I use the term desire.
Well, I like that. I like it a lot.
It's more those terms are more powerful and more definitive.
I also want to acknowledge Howard Tucker says that he already has your book, which is wonderful. So he will not use the hashtag. And I want to say, use the hashtag, Howard.
Yeah, because you could give it to somebody else.
Give it to someone as a friend and
Yeah.
let them know about the show. So
Absolutely.
we want to continue with this subject of addictions. I read in the paper last week about a bar. I don't understand people who go to a bar
Mhm.
for a non-alcoholic beverage, for example, if they are, to use your own terminology, recovery alcoholics,
Mhm.
because if they are in that situation, why subject themselves to that situation? I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Well, one of my former relationships was in recovery for years. Uh, he was able to be around drinkers without drinking in a social setting. People were drinking at we had two weddings. We had one in New York and one in Dallas, and everybody around us in Dallas, it was a drinking wedding. It was at a lovely home of my friend Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. And the booze was flowing, and he didn't drink. Um, Not everybody in the room drank. He was able to not drink, interestingly. He wasn't even tempted.
Hmm.
We did not have alcohol in the home. Uh, because of, I mean, I drink occasionally. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink every day. I don't have to have it. So we did not, but however, out of respect for him, we did not have alcohol in the house. However, there are some people that are, the people that I know that absolutely do not desire to drink anymore. And also, I have friends with liver issues that really cannot drink anymore uh, for their health reasons. They may go to a social event at someone's home for dinner or a party or something where there's alcohol and be fine. Yet, in a restaurant, however, no bars. They don't go to bars. So it's about choices. It's
Hmm.
what choice am I going to make for my health today or tonight? What's the choice I'm going to make for my own health?
Well, one thing,
And
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and some, most people are really, of course, me. Most people are really honest with me about their addictions. Uh, However, someone in alcohol recovery is or drug recovery is not. If they don't know you well, they're not going to tell you.
Hmm.
They're pretty much not going to tell you. So I feel when people say to me, "I can't go because there's going to be this there," or "Oh yeah, or for instance, uh, marijuana users. If I've known people that won't go to certain parties because they know people will be smoking and they won't they beat that. They were addicted to it. They overcame the habit and they just don't want to be around it. They can't smell it. They don't want to smell like it and they just won't go. They will come up with most people. They will come up with an alternative reason why they're not going yet. They'll tell me that I can't go there. They're going to be smoking weed and I'm not going into that environment. It,
Uh,
it's 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 having the strength to make the right choices for one's health and sobriety.
but it's also about boundaries. It's about
Hmm.
knowing what your boundaries are, knowing where you're going to go. There's such a
Right.
stigma with addictions, even now, that if someone has an addiction, whether it be to food
Hmm.
or drink or gambling, and you brought this up during one of our conversations, or sex addiction, because there
Yeah,
are.
we haven't talked about sex addiction. We haven't talked about shopping addiction. That would take up a whole hour. Uh, well, it's true. It's true. Each addiction is different. I mean,
You know,
addictions have things in common, but each particular addiction is very different. And as I said before, typically when someone has an addiction to something, uh, it is covering up a feeling. It's covering up feelings. It's not confronting feelings. It's medication. People medicate with addictions. It's some sort of medication. But here's the thing, I will say this. There's a wonderful book called The Buddha in Your Mirror, co-written by Greg Martin. The foreword was written by Herbie Hancock. All Buddhists, all Nichiren Buddhists, like me. And I was actually at the book launch at our Buddhist Culture Center in New York over on 15th Street, by Union Square Park, when I lived there. And Herbie was there and spoke. There is a chapter in this wonderful book, again, The Buddha in Your Mirror. I don't have a copy with me because I keep buying it and I keep giving it away as a present, about relative happiness versus absolute happiness. Relative happiness is a temporary fix. It's temporary. There's those Louboutin shoes you've been wanting. You go get them, and you're on a high for a while until you've worn them a bunch, and then the high wears off, and you want another pair of Louboutin shoes, or another pair of designer shoes. Or smoking. I became a chain smoker because I would smoke and get that etheric feeling from inhaling that, and then the feeling would wear off, and I'd have to have another one. So that's how.
Let's break that down for just a moment. The first cigarette that you had, what were the circumstances surrounding that cigarette?
I was at a slumber party, and I think I was young. I think I was like 10.
Wow.
And I was at a slumber party, a bunch of girls that I went to school with. It was really fun.
Tatum O'Neal and Paper Moon. There you
and
are.
Then one of the girls said, "Oh, my brother's got cigarettes. Let me go get them." And it was nasty. However, I felt so grown up. My stepfather smoked. My fraternal grandfather smoked. It turns out that a lot of my great grandparents all smoked. So it was kind of in the genes a little bit. And then I just thought it was so cool to smoke. And by the time I was in high school, I was a smoker, and I was a singer. I was singing. I was doing musicals and studying classical music. I smoked when I was an opera student. I smoked through operas.
2 examples. I was watching the other night. Brian Batt was saying that, Liza Minnelli, who I'm a huge fan of, everybody
smoked.
Heavy smoker, still is. But she, I was watching a concert the other night that's now streaming on Amazon of her in New Orleans. Her voice was so pure and pristine and at the top of her game. And there she is during intermission backstage smoking a cigarette. And I had a friend on Broadway a few years ago, and belter, huge Broadway belter. And we went out to dinner afterwards. The first thing she did when she walked through the stage door was grab a cigarette. And she said, "This is..."
Barbra Streisand smoked.
For a while.
For years. I sat next to, not to like name drop, but I sat next to Liza at a party in New York. Oh, it actually was at Linda Lavin's place when she used to live on the Park, on the east side. I'm sorry, west side. And I sat next to Liza and chit-chatted and drank, and we had cigarettes together. I mean, yeah, I smoked for years and sang, but we get to a point when we're older where we got to quit that. It will eventually affect your voice. It will affect your voice.
I grew up on a tobacco farm in South Carolina.
And by the way, Liza's lovely.
Yes.
She's very sweet and not, she's actually very quiet but very polite and lovely and looked fabulous. Still, I think she still looks fabulous. But by the way,
I love the interview this morning. Yes.
By the way, and so Billy Stritch, who was her musical director for many, 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 many years, is an old friend of mine from Sugar Land, Texas.
Yes.
We knew each other in Texas, and he's lovely as well. I just wanted to say that. Yes.
But I grew up on this tobacco farm in South Carolina. So those who don't know the process of what is called cropping tobacco, once the tobacco stalks grow, you break off the leaves. And what would pour out of the leaves is this black tar substance that is so thick that there's special soap that you need to wash it out of your clothes, out of your hair, out of your skin, from underneath your fingernails. It was something that I absolutely, I hated. That's one habit that I never picked up. And, but that is coating your lungs.
Yes, but also, depending on what your addiction is, whether it's cigarettes, it's marijuana, and I'm no prude. Yet, and alcohol. when we ingest too much of those things, we end up smelling like those things.
Mm-hmm.
When you start sweating, it emits the odor because you're sweating it, the toxins out of your body. Yeah. And the other thing, I want to start touching on another subject, but it does have something to do with this. Addictions affect our energy field.
Mm-hmm.
It affects our energy. And I know people throw the term energy around a lot. Yet, in my book on page 13, I have a chapter called Energy and the Boomerang Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Doing too much of anything, and we know when that is. We know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. And when we become addicts, we continue doing them anyway. Yet it affects our energy and our energy field.
Because don't you think that there are some people who don't know that they're addicts, or do you think that they're living in a denial?
There are families where there's generations of them, especially alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
Alcoholism and cigarette smoking, two big ones, where it's normal in the family. And back in the day, people just, before there was AA was brilliant, I thought. I think all of the anonymous groups are brilliant. Before that, people were just known as drinkers or smokers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just an everyday thing, especially in families or in groups of people, neighborhoods, depending on where you lived, especially out in the country where my grandparents were from.
Mm-hmm.
My fraternal grandparents were from the country, and my grandfather smoked all his darn life.
And let's face it, it has been so glamorized in our popular culture, television shows.
Yes.
It's funny now when I watch Bewitched, one of my favorite shows, I can't get past how much they drink on that show.
Yes, constantly. And if you look at some of the reality shows, a lot of the reality shows, the Housewives franchise, the People Locked Up in a House franchise, they drink in every episode constantly. It's a lot of drinking, but they're always drinking.
I don't want to point fingers, but there was a certain morning TV show where the two hosts every morning were drinking glasses.
Oh, yes. Oh, you know what? That's no secret. That's Hoda and Kathy.
Well, you mentioned their names. I didn't.
It's okay. No, but everybody knows they did it on national TV.
But didn't you think?
But then when Kathy retired, that Hoda stopped drinking.
I still think it goes on that show.
I don't know. I don't know. That came on. I think it came on at what?
7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, oh yes, that's right. No, yeah, that was the Today Show. But I think by the time it hits New Mexico, where I am, it's noon there.
But in addition to that,
anyway,
I felt like, this year on New Year's Eve, and I'm not pointing fingers, everybody live and let live. That's, but you send certain messages out to the world. And so before we move on to other topics, because we've got some topics.
Well, I'm going to stay with the energy topic.
Okay. Tomorrow night, I am going to have Dee Wallace. Yes, that Dee Wallace on my show. And her book opens all about energy and the energy we put out into the world, the energy we bring back. And I love, which I will be dropping your name tomorrow night, the boomerang effect, and what that's all about.
That's what I love. That's what I call it.
Darrell Rembrandt, he says he let childhood bullying go years ago. And I want to know, Darrell, what side of the spectrum were you on? Were you the bully or the bullied? Because it goes both ways. And some people who are bullied end up becoming bullies themselves. Your thoughts?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, especially children. Yeah. Yeah. Abused children sometimes become the abuser.
But don't you?
Not me. Not I didn't do that, but
But don't you?
But I also had some good influences in my life as well.
But in our culture, that we really, it's become almost acceptable to be a bully. gossip shows,
Mhm.
they will
Mhm.
say horrendous things about people. I've seen photographs posted of people who have had facelifts that people want to criticize,
Mhm.
or people's weight loss, or um, Daryl
Mhm.
says he was bullied.
Mhm.
Daryl, I was a bullied kid. I know what
Mhm.
that felt like. I know what it feels like. And that's, again, why I uh, say Richard Skipper celebrates. I want
Mhm.
to celebrate people instead of tearing them down.
Yes, yes. I
Um,
don't comment
yeah,
on social. I have a lot of friends on social media. I do not comment about that. I do not put people down. I don't. There's a lot of people posting, pictures so that they ask for a caption because they're asking people to make fun of someone,
right.
which is such a waste of time. Gosh, I don't have that kind of time.
And in a
And
way,
we're sending that out. We're sending that hateful energy out into the planet, into the ethers.
but someone taking a photograph of
Mhm.
someone in a shopping mall or on
Mhm.
Facebook, and you think that it's just an anonymous act that you're doing, and then you
Mhm.
post that out for the world to see,
Mhm.
um, you're posting of a person who most likely is in a lot of pain. And
Yeah.
so I would say, uh, stop doing that. Um,
Mhm.
let's talk about shopping addictions.
Uh-oh.
Is that something that you've dealt with personally, or?
I'm not a shopping addict, but yet I've known some. Constantly shopping, constantly buying, a lot of ordering online.
I had an
Mhm.
aunt who was a very successful businesswoman. She had her own catering company long before women were doing this. She had her own business. She franchised herself out to the public school system in my
Mhm.
hometown.
Mhm.
Very, very, very successful woman.
Mhm.
And she's has since passed away. May she rest in peace. But I went to visit her a few years ago. And when I went into her home, this was the person that I didn't recognize because she had gotten addicted to the shopping network, QVC, and she became a hoarder. She was buying all these things because she thought at some point she was going to give them away as gifts. She was going
Mhm.
to give them to the right people at the right time. She was buying things that she had absolutely no business buying.
Yeah. It's relative happiness. It's temporary. It's a temporary high. It's a temporary high. And once you get it in your house and you look at it and go, "Isn't that pretty?" And then the pretty wears off, and then you got to get something else to ring your bell. You
I'm
know, the bell
I'm
stops ringing, and then you got to get something else to ring it. Uh, Instead, so this is one of the many, 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 many reasons that I do 3 types of silent meditations. I graduated 3 different types of silent meditations to calm the mind, because the mind starts working and talking and monkeying around, going, "You need that. You got to have that. You need to order that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that pretty thing on page 7. You can't live without that." It's our brains and our thoughts and our feelings. It's not really us. It's not really us.
I'm reading
Uh,
a book now. I'm reading
and
I'm
I and
reading a
I
book
write
about.
about
Oh, go
I
ahead.
write there is a chapter in my book about why we hold on to material things and about hoarding. I write a story about someone I knew who passed away. Or actually, I knew. Well, the family called me in with another friend and said, she just collected all this stuff, and it's not a lot of it's just not even. It was her own little poo poo, collections,
Mhm.
but they weren't really worth any money. And they had to. I helped them sift through all this stuff, right? And this is why I want to talk about addictions and holding on to other things and other addictions. We found, this is so sad, in her closet, in her master closet, there was a mountain of empty vodka bottles.
Mm.
So she would get drunk. She would drink a lot.
Alone.
I dare say get drunk and order, and would just order stuff and order stuff and order stuff. And she had all this stuff. She had a 3-bedroom condo with all this stuff that, and a lot of it not worth a whole heck of a lot. You know, they had an estate sale and didn't really make what they really required for funeral expenses and things of that nature, you know. And guess what? Young people these days, like I have some crystal and I have one set of china. Okay. That, you know, I don't have any silver. I don't have any silver flatware. And I have no children to hand it down to. I'm smart about that stuff. Young people, and when I moved from Texas to New Mexico, I got rid of a lot of antiques, and I actually gave all the family antiques I had and some other things that belonged to my paternal grandparents to other family members because they have kids and grandkids and I don't. It doesn't make any sense for me to hold on to that stuff. Did they have sentimental value to me? Of course they did. Can I live without them? Mm-hmm. You know, so young people these days, younger people, statistics show that young people don't want the china. They don't want crystal. They don't care about antiques. They like Z Gallery and IKEA, and you know they want more contemporary, modern, easy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't want all that stuff. So why are we holding on to it? Why are we keeping it? It's just taking up room. I know people that had, I don't know how many sets of darn china. How many sets of china do you have to have? And when you resell it, it's not worth what you paid for it. It's really not, unless it's an old discontinued piece. Yet it takes a long time to sell that stuff because there's just a certain market for it. You know, we got to think. We got to use our brain cells and not be so darn impulsive. There, in the 5 ways we can let go, I write about mindfulness. What's one of the 5 things? Being mindful. Oh, my brain said I wanted that. Why my brain said I have to go. I have to order that. I have to get that. Why? Why do I think I require that? What's the reason?
Well, I'm reading a book now about want, and want is the first real thing that we all began with. I want to be fed. I want to be clothed. I want to be changed. I want to be, you know, whatever it is that as babies, very early on, it's an innate thing within us. And then, you know, and it's very interesting because I read a study and it said that what really changed popular culture the most, and this might come as a surprise for some watching here, what changed popular culture the most was the coonskin cap. Because when Davy Crockett was a popular show in the 50s, it was the first time that product placement and putting out there, the commercials were about the coonskin cap. And every kid in America had to have a coonskin cap. And if you didn't have that coonskin cap, you were ostracized in school because you were not one of the popular kids if your parents could not afford this. And it really started a cultural divide. And it seems so simple. And so, but think about it. And we as adults, when we have the ability to say, I desire this in my life, notice the word desire instead of want. I desire this in my life, or I don't desire this in my life. And we are always making choices. You see people posting things on Facebook, and a lot of times I would, everyone has a right to do what they do. But what is their intent?
You know, and somebody just mentioned, Kathleen just mentioned, same with designer clothing. Yes. Oh my God, I know women. Oh my God, I've known women, especially in Dallas, and I never mentioned names, but I mean, one woman, they lived in a huge home, and she had a giant closet of her own, and it looked like a Chanel boutique. That was her favorite designer, and it could have been she could have had a sale in there. She really could have and made a fortune. And I thought, why? I mean, sure, that's a nice bag, or this is a nice whatever, but why do you have to have everything Chanel makes? No, sorry, Chanel, I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying, you know, and I know somebody else that buys every LV bag that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
every LV bag. And every time I'd go to her home, I want to show you my new bag. And look at my new Ferragamo shoes. It was like show and tell. And I knew what she was doing. It was like, it's how I write about why we hold on to things. One of the 5 reasons we hold on to certain things is it's how we identify ourselves. As she identified herself with how much LV and Ferragamo she could buy. It's about, some of it's about this. Okay, this is how I identify myself. And now we're going to have some more show and tell. And I gotta tell you, I mean, I have here in New Mexico, the jewelry thing. I don't own any huge pieces of turquoise jewelry. I don't. It's just not good on me. I don't like the big pieces. I like silver, and I have some nice silver pieces. But there are people that are just. I mean, I do know some Native Americans that it's part of their culture, and that's fine. I'm not commenting on that, the culture. However, there's the rest of us that have relocated here are not Native American, and it's not really a part of our spiritual culture or the culture's identity. That just, oh my God, they just wear pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds of these, and they just can't buy enough. It's just like, oh, there's another big necklace, I have to go get it. Oh, I saw this bracelet today and I have to have it. Yes, it may be worth some money someday, and it might be worth handing down to kids, but some of these people don't have kids. It's just like, how much giant turquoise silver jewelry can I own? How much can I collect? And we really don't require all that stuff.
Well, I will say this. It's very interesting because right now I am dealing with a friend who passed away.
Yes.
And there's so much stuff. Lisa Discoli is watching the show, and she knows, and Kathleen as well. There's so much stuff to give away. And I called today. There was a major fire here in the Bronx a couple of weeks ago. And I called the Red Cross about donating this stuff. They don't want donations. They want cash. They want money. They said, give the donations to a church or a food bank or a homeless shelter. But giving it to the Red Cross, they get so much of this stuff, they don't even know where to get it out to these people. And, and as we are getting older and finishing this realm of our lives, what is the purpose of collecting all this stuff at this point?
It's relative happiness.
It's
the temporary high, and again, it's how people identify themselves, and people play show and tell. Because every time they get something new, they say, "Oh, I got to show you my new bag. I got to show you my new shoes." And also maybe status symbol, but that falls under the umbrella of identification.
Yes. It's very interesting because I have a huge Carol Channing collector. Glenn Charlo is a huge Lucy collector. And we're both talking.
And Wayne Smith, and I have to say, Wayne's really smart about what he collects. Wayne Smith, who you've interviewed, is a good friend of mine, and he's a world-renowned Cher impersonator. He's been doing it for years.
Yes.
He was in La Cage in Vegas. He's done everybody. He's done Joe Rivers and Marilyn Monroe, and now all he does is Cher.
Let's clear that up for just a moment. He has appeared as these people. That doesn't mean he's done these people.
Oh, yes.
That's another addiction.
That's what we say in entertainment. That's entertainment talk. And he does this fabulous on Facebook when he's getting ready for a show. He'll put his makeup on in front of you and talk to everybody. It's really fabulous. And behind him are 2 or 3 shelves of Cher memorabilia. Now, these are collector dolls that are worth money. And he can fit it all on a few shelves. His house is not full of Cher stuff. It's got in his dressing room. He's got a room that's his dressing room in his closet that has some Cher memorabilia that a lot of it is worth money. It's worth money, and he knows that. He's very smart about that. I'm not judging that, yet, do you really need one more Hummel? Hummels are so hard to sell now. I know estate sale people that are like, who's going to buy all these Hummels? Remember when Cabbage Patch Dolls came out?
Oh yeah.
Okay. People collected those. Now they can't get rid of them. I tell myself all the time. I mean, I catch myself. That's why I wrote the book. I will be out shopping and see something fabulous, and I tell myself just because it's fabulous doesn't mean I have to own it. I don't have to take that home with me. I can admire it now and go, oh, that's cute, and not bring it home with me.
Well, for me, I've reached a point in my life where, I mean, even this year at Christmas, because of where we are in the world, my friend Peggy had just passed away and everything. I said to Danny, I don't even feel like doing a gift exchange this year. And we did exchange gifts this year. And I will be honest with you, I didn't miss not having that stress of dealing with it or anything. For me, I want life experiences. If you want to give me a gift, let's go out to dinner. Let's go see a show. And I'm not talking about treating me. I'm talking about the experience of doing it together.
Right.
I want life experiences.
Sure.
And I think if nothing else, over the last year and a half plus, we are learning that the things that we take for granted, going to the theater, we think we're going to buy tickets for a show, and we're going to go to the theater, and we're going to sit in our seats, and the curtains are going to go up, and there's going to be a show. Well, folks, those of you who are in the New York theater scene know that it's not happening as much now as it was about a week or so ago. Right. But every other show was somebody would come out on stage and make an announcement. Tonight's show is not happening because someone in the company has COVID. We can't take these things for granted anymore either.
Right. Yeah. Think of all that money you've spent on all those Hummels. How many vacations could you have taken without all those Hummels, or, your refrigerator broke and you can't get another one, but you're looking at, 2-3 cabinets full of Hummels. I mean, let's be practical. And again, I want to reiterate the fact that, addictions typically are medicating. We're medicating what's really going on. And just about everything we base our lives on are feelings. Feelings, nothing more than feelings. And feelings are triggered by thoughts. So when I was on the road to letting go of cigarette smoking, I started keeping a little pocket journal. I had one of those little pads, in my bag. And when my brain said, you got to have a cigarette, it's time for a cigarette, I would write down what just occurred. Did I have an iffy conversation with somebody? Did someone say something negative to me? Did they post something negative, on social media? Of course, we didn't have social media back then, but this was 21 years ago. But did I just have a conversation that triggered something, on the phone that triggered something? I like to smoke. Smokers smoke when we're on the phone. The moment a smoker gets on the phone, we light a cigarette. And studies have shown that cigarette smoking is really creating a smoke screen around yourself, like a bubble, to protect yourself from other people, so that we're not really paying attention. We're not really engaged. We're engaged in the smoking. We're not engaged with the person that's speaking to us, that we're having a conversation with. Alcohol is just plain old numbing. Just plain, we're numbing our feelings. And cigarettes can numb as well. You take that first puff and it goes whoosh, woo, and you get this etheric, your brain just goes bang, and you're not really fully there. It's so that we don't have to be fully present. It takes the presence away. And I encourage anybody who I don't like the word challenge. I don't like challenges. Yet I encourage people out, and if anybody watching that might want to let go of a habit that might be an addiction, to keep a little journal and write down the thought and the feeling you had before right before your brain said, you got to have that.
Mm-hmm.
With shopping, what is your brain telling you? What's the reason your brain is saying you got to have that, you got to buy that? What did your thoughts from your subconscious just tell you? And also, what's the fantasy when people binge buy or impulse buy, their brain tells them some imaginative story about what's going to happen once they own that. Oh, if you buy that, like women, the straight women, oh, you buy that, he's really going to notice that. Oh, you buy that, or anybody, oh, you buy that and put it in the living room, that's going to be the talk of the town. Well, maybe not. It's just something your subconscious is feeding into your conscious. If there's a whole there's a whole line of train cars that lead to this, which we'll get to next week. Next week I really want to start teaching everybody about the process of the subconscious and the conscious and thoughts and feelings and the energy we create that emits out, which is really our law of attraction. Mm-hmm. What we emit out is what we're going to get back. Whatever is underneath all those layers, whatever is in the front, the front car of the train that leads to the back, to the caboose, we're going to talk about those next week. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that, it's like going to the supermarket when you're hungry. Like the worst.
Oh, that's such a bad idea.
It's the worst time to go. Or, and if you look at late night television, and this was my issue, because I, especially in the last few years, you can fill in the blank as to why, but I was obsessed with watching news programs late at night. And every other commercial, if it's not a pharmaceutical ad, it's Domino's Pizza. We deliver almost 24/7. You can order just about anything. You don't even need to get off your sofa except to get to the door. Chinese food, anything that you can order. And I was ordering late at night, or I was eating late at night.
Yeah.
The stimulus on TV, and oh my God, that sandwich, that looks like that would be really good to have right now at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, and also when we know that we want to let go of some extra weight, which is I had some pandemic weight, I'm not gonna lie, and it's coming off because I'm mindful of and I'm also cooking a lot more for myself. I'm actually a really great cook, and I like cooking. I'm very mindful of what I'm cooking and what I'm putting in my mouth. So on our committee, our Herman's Head committee, the show Herman's Head, I have committee members that say, oh, you haven't had pizza in like 6 months. You've been really good. You can have some pizza now. Just this once, have some pizza. And I say, no, I'm not eating the damn pizza. Shut up. Because then I'm going to feel terror. I'm going to eat the pizza. And then I will have backtracked on my new way of eating. I don't like, as you know, I abhor the word diet. I hate it. I hate it. It's just got this negative connotation. I don't like it when manufacturers refer to some of their products as diet soda, diet juice. There's no better way to get me to not buy your product. The word diet in front of it, Yet my new way of eating and being and living says no pizza, no, And we all have those voices from our subconscious that say, oh, you can have the pizza just this once, and I have to say, and then I'll feel terrible that I said I'm not going to eat that, and then I ate it. It's mindfulness. It's being mindful. It's not acting so impulsively. We human beings often have knee-jerk reactions, and we act impulsively. And that's where the word impulse buying came from. We're not thinking at all. We're not being mindful. We're just going, I have to have that right now. If I don't have it, my life's going to end. No, it's not. You
But
just think it is.
I want to point out something that Joanne Kemper is saying, who's watching, and
Yeah, I saw
that is
that.
that she also needs to let go easy on yourself. All of us do.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
all human. We are
Yes.
all, you know, I mean, we're all like willow trees, and
Mhm.
sometimes the wind, and you never know. Also, when a certain trigger is going to
Right.
come along, that's
Right.
going to do something. Uh, None of us know what we're going to be feeling 24 hours from now. None of us know what the circumstances are, or where we're going to be, what we're going to do. We plan our lives, we go
Mhm.
through lives, but things happen and changes happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, absolutely, Joanne. And you know, and
Well, to even consider letting go of negative people, places, and things that don't serve us individually well, you have to put the word "well" on the end of it. I think in my book, um, that right there is loving yourself.
mhm,
That's the first step to really caring and loving yourself. And through the process, yes, but there's a fine line between us being what you call easy on yourself and being mindful and disciplined with ourselves. And guess what? We know what that line is. We sometimes blur over it. We get an eraser out, and here, we just erase it. Oh no, I don't need that line right now. I'll look at the line later. No, there is a line. And when we catch ourselves, we're being very good to ourselves. When we catch ourselves and we admit it to ourselves, oh, I just caught myself. I just caught myself go stepping back a little bit. I caught myself turning around and looking through the gate after I walked through it. As long catching yourself is a really great way of loving yourself.
mhm.
Yeah,
But
and yes.
no, but there, you mentioned people, places, things.
Hmm.
You and I talked earlier this week, and I mentioned
Hmm.
there's a particular venue in New York that when I go into that venue, I feel unwelcome.
Yes.
And you said, well, then,
I know what the venue is, and I there's a lot of people that don't feel welcome there. It's a
but
weird vibe.
you
Yeah.
said, don't go. You don't even
Hello.
go there. And you've told your friends if they're performing there, you will not go there.
No, I won't go there. If I'm in New York, I will not go there. Mm-mm,
Mhm.
mm-mm. Bad vibe.
But I mean, but there are certain things that will set off a trigger with all of us, and we're all human.
Hmm.
But I will say this once again: if
Hmm.
you get this book, and in about 2 minutes and counting, we're going to give away a book.
I
And
think, Richard, we have a lot of people that have joined us.
yes,
So can you reiterate the book giveaway and the hashtagging?
well, it's on the bottom of the screen, but everybody who's watching right now, you've got a few minutes because in 2 minutes, we're going to do a giveaway. If you put in the hashtag, let that go in the subject matter, in the comment section,
Mhm.
whether you leave a comment or not. And just to let you know, if you've already done it, don't do it again.
Yeah.
Because
The
it's not
machine might explode.
it's not based on the number of times you do it, because it's based on the number of people who showed up for the game, so to speak.
Mhm.
So doing it multiple times doesn't increase your chances of winning.
Right.
Just once, if you haven't done so already, let that go. And we will give a giveaway in 1 minute. So you've got a chance to get on board and do that on whatever platform you're on. Okay?
That includes everybody texting me on Facebook.
Well,
Everybody, I see everybody. We've got people watching, and
if they're
that
texting
includes
you,
you guys. You can actually text on the comment underneath
if
what
they're
you're watching on the
texting, they
Facebook
need to,
page.
whatever platform they're watching on,
Yeah.
they need to do the hashtag, because uh, as a matter of fact, bring up the screen. So we're going to show the screen, and our nice assistant standing in the wings, and there we go. We have 10 entries,
Yes.
and I
Yes,
know that there are
Glenn. Hi,
more
Glenn.
than, yeah. Glenn Charlo is helping
Hi,
us.
Glenn. Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah. So
And those of you who have the book, and anybody who's about to win the book, let that go. And you guys that have the book, go to page 13 and read the chapter on energy and the boomerang effect.
While we're waiting, why don't you read an excerpt from that page, and that'll give us everybody a little chance to put in their entry. Bring the page back up.
Okay.
We lost the page. Where'd it go? Bring it
Oh,
back
I think
up.
you took it down because I'm reading, but
Okay.
oh well. Glenn's like, I hear you, Richard.
Okay.
His head is going to fly off his
bring it up, we can see the numbers going up. So bring it back on screen. Yes. Okay, Kassira.
Backstage person. That's your new name, Glenn. Backstage person. Your first and last name. Okay, so I start out this chapter with a wonderful. I have a degree in metaphysical science from University of Metaphysics in Sedona. And Dr. Paul Leon Masters began this program. He was brilliant. He's no longer with us. He's no longer with us in the physical form. He's floating around out there. He's floating around looking at us and listening and probably clapping. I quote him at the top, and his quote is, "All physical matter is, in truth, is a field of energy inclusive of the physical body, minerals, vegetables, and all else in nature. The magnetic quality of our minds operates on all levels." And we're going to talk about this next week, but here's what I want you to think about in the next week. I also am a 4th level Reiki master, and I'm certified in chakra alignment. And here's a book. If you ever want to know about energy and how we use it, this is an old book called The Hands of Light by Barbara Ann Brennan. She's famous in the lightworker world. And I've had this book for so long, and I refer to it all the time. We actually have 9 bodies. We have our physical body, and we have our 8 ethereal bodies. 8 and 9 are what are considered to be in the cosmic plane. So the first 7 kind of correlate with the chakras, the first 7 layers of bodies, the physical body and 6 ethereal bodies. And then we go up to the 8th and the 9th. And the 8th body kind of interacts between the physical body and the ethereal body. The 9th body is crystalline. It's cosmic. It's in the cosmic ethers. We each have all of those layers. So in whatever way we create our energy with our thoughts and our feelings and our actions, all of this energy from all of these bodies emanates out into the environment, our environment, to other human beings. You ever walk into a room or met somebody or whatever, and you just did not like their energy? You know that you already don't like that person. Well, there's a reason for that. There's a big reason for that.
So
And
are you ready for a giveaway?
Oh, are we doing it?
Okay. Drum roll, please, and let's draw, Glenn. So watch how this happens. I love this.
Oh, look at everybody. Wow.
I won, so I am going to give since
you did it too? Oh.
Well, I was telling everyone what to do it. Do it again, Glenn. You can there's a little button in the upper top. I'm not going to accept this prize because we're going to do it again. Let's okay.
And yeah, because somebody else just hashtag.
No, he moved out of the. You didn't need to do that. There was a little. Yes, draw again.
Oh, the magic of technology.
Yes. Joanne Kemper is our winner.
Oh my gosh, Joanne. Doesn't Joanne have the book? Joanne, do you have the book?
No, I don't think she does. So, Joanne, this is what I need you to do. I need you to send me a private message, with your address and everything, and I will get the book off to you tonight. So that's wonderful. And thank you, Glenn. You can take that off now. And I want to say my closing remarks, and then I'm going to give you the screen. And Kassira, you've got the closing remarks tonight.
Okay.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and I want to let everybody know about this new thing that I've learned about. and it's called whatyoumeantome.com. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to create a little banner here for this while I'm speaking so everyone can see this. You mean to me.com. And I'm going to do this, and we're going to add this banner here. And you see how it's spelled out, whatyoumeantome.com. So I want everybody who's watching the show tonight to do a couple of things. This is your homework assignment. If this is your first time here, I hope it won't be your last. Please go to my banner on richardskippercelebrates.com, designed by Glenn Charlot, and click on the button that says join in the celebration. And that will let you know whenever and every time I'm going live. And also leave a comment on YouTube. Share this with your friends through YouTube and let other people know about the show. Also, Kassira and I are very accessible. So reach out to us. Let us know what ideas you have for the show, questions you may have for either of us, and suggestions you may have for the show.
Mm-hmm. You can message me on Facebook, private message me on Facebook, Kassira McKee. Yep.
And as I normally have done in the past, I've asked people to go to your Facebook friends list and reach out to and then I pick a number. Well, tonight I am going to pull the number 7. I want you all to go to your Facebook friends list, and I want you to go to the 7th name that pops up, and I want you to go to whatyoumeantome.com. And I want you to fill out the little form, and I want you to send that to the 7th person on your list. And in those 7 names, if there is someone in that list of 7 that doesn't elevate you, does not make you feel good when you think about them, does not move you to a level of this warm fuzziness all over. In other words, they don't align with who you are as a person, it's time to what, Kassira?
Let them go.
Let them go. And together,
with compassion, with compassion.
With compassion.
I don't throw the word love around, but with compassion, let them go with compassion. Just because we're letting somebody go doesn't mean we get an invitation to hate them.
And before I leave the screen, I'm going to let you all know what the secret of social engagement is all about. Comment, share, and and like. If you do those 3 things, especially for our artist friends, if they're doing a show or something, it takes very little effort and energy to comment on that. If you see a negative post that, again, is not in alignment with who you are, hide that post. And there's another button that I love, and I can snooze somebody for 30 days.
We love the snooze button.
Yes. If they need to go into timeout, I snooze them. So that being said, I'm going to leave the screen. I'm going to give you the final word, and I will see you back here next week at the same time. Kassira, I love you.
Guys, you can friend me on Facebook. I'm the only Kassira McKee on the planet. I didn't plan that, but isn't that fabulous that it worked out that way? And you can send me private messages as well. I do have people messaging me, asking me questions, telling me what they're experiencing. I have a lot of people around that are experiencing grief. Grief is not an actual standard basic feeling recognized by the psychological world. It is a combination of feelings, and it could be a combination of several feelings. We're going to talk about energy and thoughts and feelings next week. And also visit my GoFundMe page. I'm working on some projects. I have a GoFundMe page, Kassira McKee on GoFundMe. Here we go. Page 13 of the book. Those of you who have the book. Howard, I know, is going to this page right now. Thank you, Howard. The top of the page. Like attracts like. Our focus is our reality. It is the universal law of cause and effect. The energy we are magnetizes like energy. We, all things, living things, and even the inanimate things we create, make, or manufacture are manifested vibrational energy. Everything in the universe is made of vibrational energy, which has what I call the boomerang effect. Comes right back at you. Our ways of being and states of mind, such as our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, and language, are energetically vibrational. In fact, the energy of what we think, do, say, I've lost my place. I'm leaving my body. Feel and believe create certain vibrations that create frequencies. Our frequencies radiate out of us into the universe like radio waves, which is actually called in the scientific world waveforms, which find a vibrational match and bring it back to us. This is the boomerang effect. Now, I'm also going to read from page 71, anyone who has the book, under the heading of the chapter, 5 Keys to Blessing, Releasing, and Complete Forgiveness. I want you guys to start thinking about what's the manner in which we let go of a person, place, or any number of things. We bless ourselves and the thing we're letting go of before we release it, so that we don't keep telling the negative stories about what we're releasing and perpetuate the negativity. That is in the book too. So I'd like to read under the heading of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of staying awake and aware in order to recognize when we begin to hold on before we slip into what I call the quicksand of negativity and holding on. Mindfulness is the act of observing our own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, and language, which create our energetic vibrational frequency. In order to be mindful, we must slow down. In order to be open and willing and blessed and release and forgive, it is important for us to slow down, to make the time and the mind space for introspection and thoughtfulness. Being mindful of our own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, and language is essential in the process of letting go. I hope that somebody out there gets that little pocket spiral notebook and a pen in their bag or their pocket, and when you have a thought about what you just have to have that you can't live without, that you really don't require, write down the thought and the feelings you had around it. And also, Joanne mentioned, yes, we often create fantasies about something that will happen if we buy something that we don't really require. We don't really need to bring it home with us, yet our brain says we do. Write that down. If you would like to let go of the habit of cigarette smoking, write down the thought and the feeling it triggered right before your brain said, you got to have a cigarette. Or if you'd like to slow down in your drinking, not everybody that drinks is an alcoholic. However, if you're drinking a little too much and you got to slow down, write down the thought and the feeling you had around that before your brain said, you got to have a drink. Mindfulness and aware of your energy. And we're going to talk about more of that next week. I'm so glad we had this time together for a laugh and to sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. See you next week.